Hello and welcome to Delicious Recipe here on UPRN. If you're listening live or even watching live, you can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, a bunch of other ones there. I got a guest back again there, my other half there, Laura Lee. Say hello, Laura Lee.
Hello, Laura Lee.
There you go. Always with the jokes. So we've been going through actually, okay, what did I call this one there today? I gotta remember. I think I called this one wet bread. And there's a story into this there too. I'll go through that as well. But it's funny is that today I got a message there on Facebook there of something from the past or whatever, right? Like updated history. And There's actually a joke I posted back in 2019. And we've been going through here in Thunder Bay some really nasty hot weather. It's really it goes super hot. Like I think we're up in almost like I guess we would say in the Fahrenheit scale, up in the high 90s, and then at nighttime going down to like the 50s, I guess, Fahrenheit and stuff like that. So really big temperature swings. Like humidity is like off the chart, really, really humid in that. But actually, there's a joke that I posted on Facebook, I guess, back in 2019, and I'll give you the joke. We'll start this one off there tonight, the Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna start this off with a joke, and we'll see how this goes. So let me just read this off. Okay, I did this. Yeah, 2 Canadians die and end up in hell. Satan decides to pay them a visit, so he walks into their room and sees them talking and laughing. Confused, he asks them, why are they happy? They tell him, well, we're so sick of the cold where we're from, and this place is nice and toasty. Satan, annoyed, storms away and goes to hell's boiler room, and he turns up the temperature. He goes back to Canadian's room. Along the way, he being begged by all sorts of people to put the heating back down. He enters the room and sees the Canadians having a barbecue. Furiously, he asks them, what are they doing? Well, we can't pass up this wonderful weather without getting out the barbecue. Satan realizes he's been doing the wrong thing. He goes to the boiler room and turns it down until it says colder temperature okay. He goes to the boiler room and turns it down until it's colder temperature than ever seen on Earth. He knows he's won now, so he goes back to the Canadians' room only to see them jumping up and down in excitement. He shouts at them in fury, why are you still so happy? They look at him and shout at the same time, hell froze over. That means the Leafs won.
People know what the Leafs are.
Right, NHL. Yeah.
That's a good joke.
Yep. So out of that there, we got some other stuff there. So what did I call this one there? Wet bread. And actually this part there, I was thinking about that there today, and the photo that I put up there is the thumbnail on that. And I was thinking about my meatloaf recipe. Then I was thinking about meatballs. And I remember this Italian family that they had there. They used to make meatballs, and they used to soak the bread. Instead of just using dry breadcrumbs, they'd soak fresh bread, and they'd soak it in milk. And then they'd add cheese and stuff like that and different seasonings, and that's how they would go and make their meatballs. Yeah. So I was just thinking, oh, yeah, this is sort of an interesting thing. Since we are on the delicious recipe where we throw lots of things in the pot and we see how they taste at the end. And that's one of them there. So if you ever look up recipes and stuff like that about using wet bread in your meatballs or meatloaf, that's another thing. I haven't made meatloaf in a long time there too. And I don't make it the regular way that people make meatloaf with ketchup. That's a little bit, I don't know. What would you say?
I never liked meatloaf until you made it. I want to give a shout out to Michelle Millian. She's on Facebook. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to tell people where I'm from, Del.
Yep.
I'm on Monday nights here on UPRN. Sorry, I can't even talk either. The Angel Rock from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central. So, and Del and I do this often. If, sometimes guests can't make it, even though you book them. And so we just have to literally go from one room to the next and, hey, want to join me on my podcast?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we'll see there, too, is that we're on the UFO Paranormal Radio thing there. So I just joined the chat room just now. Sorry, I'm just I'm working nights there, so I'm a little bit discombobulated at these times there, and trying to get things done there. So
what's YouTube we're on? We're on United Public, UFO Radio. Isn't it UFO Paranormal Radio? You and I tonight are right off our game. We're not used to Thursday nights doing a podcast.
yeah, just changing things around there. But I guess we had a great week there last week, and we'll try and duplicate it there again there today. So yeah, otherwise, then how you've been dealing with the heat there, Laura?
Well, like I've been sitting in the kitchen I'm launching a secondary business with resin, as you well know. I've overtaken our whole dining room and kitchen, and I have a Cricut machine, and I'm a grandma now to a new puppy. My eldest just got his first puppy today. He'll be heading there after the show, and I have a Cricut, and once you figure out how to use them, you see a lot of people selling them because you can't figure out the software. But I said, nope, I'm figuring it out. And I made all kinds of super cool stuff I'll be putting up on Facebook pretty soon.
So what does a Cricut do there, Laura?
Well, a Cricut cuts. It's kind of like if you went to a professional t-shirt shop or logo shop, they use those big, I guess, computerized machines to cut the vinyl. Well, you can do this at home, but it cuts anything. Cuts fabric, cuts paper, cuts wood, can engrave in metal, can do anything pretty well. So, and it's pretty professional looking. You can put whatever kind of image or logo you want in there, and yeah, so it's a lot of fun once you figure out how to use it and size and things like that. Because you're not regular JPEG files, you use something called a SVG file. I think it's some simple vector graphic it's called. So, so
awesome.
It's a new language. But let's talk about what's going on in the world. That's what you're going to talk about anyways tonight, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're sort of like in a whole place, like just like soggy wet bread. We're sort of slopping all over the internet, and I've been sort of watching things. So big news, and well, everybody's got to have at least heard this about the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, and trillions upon trillions of dollars spent over there, a bunch of machinery, weapons and stuff like that, training and that. And you got to remember too is that the CIA, the U.S. government trained the Taliban as well beforehand, right? So that sort of shot them in the butt. And so the U.S. went over there again after Russia failed after 8 years, and they stayed there for 20, and they withdrew, and within 24 hours after they left, basically the Taliban took control of all of Afghanistan, took all the Americans' weapons, planes, drones, rockets, everything. And the Afghan army just said, enough of this, we'll just we'll hit the bricks. So now you have I guess U.S. government in a way, and other things. They're now making deals with a terrorist organization, or what? I guess they don't find themselves as terrorists. They just figure about that they've just taken back their country. What have you heard about that so far, there, Laura?
What I've actually seen, a lot of people have sent me stuff from all over the world. And we can't forget also to add that Mr. JT and the Sunshine Band, or Mr. Pink Pants, or Mr. Castro Jr., they're called an election. But as for Afghanistan, what I'm seeing a lot that people are sending me is really angry veterans. Like, I've seen a lot of, their comrades when they were over there in Afghanistan, whether they're retired or not. And, a lot of people gave their lives. They did, everything they did over there, what I'm seeing the majority of them saying is he did it for nothing. Never mind that, you're right, there's a lot of people angry saying we don't have a president. Doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democratic. It doesn't quite relate to the Afghanistan either. I was really surprised to see Democrat, I forget what her name is now, I probably have to look her up on Facebook when you're speaking, but she owns a software company, and she's been coming out speaking about what's happening and what she's seeing in the computer world. Like, there's just so much going on in the world. I don't know if it's more of the smoke and mirror show where, everybody's paying attention to Afghanistan, but don't notice the little man behind the curtain, what he's really doing. I don't know, but I just feel like we're kind of heading towards a precipice. I think that all heck is going to break loose globally in about September to October. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, this is interesting. A couple of little news things, independent news channels I've watched there. So it'll be interesting on what China's move is on this there too as well, and whether or not they go and hold hands with the controlling power in Afghanistan as well. So that's going to be an interesting little thing to see because China does work behind the scenes, and they're in a lot of different little areas, and people count them out, but. It's funny is that even on some of the news channels there too as well, there's still this problem that's going on with Taiwan, and China wants to go and appropriate that back again there, and then seeing how what the states has done there with Afghanistan, and that they're wondering whether or not they're the leader there, Mr. Biden or President Biden, how his mental capacities are sort of working and how he will deal with other places where America military has foreign interests and stuff like that. So it's there's lots of different talk about that and lots of different interesting things to see how things sort of progress around the world. And like we said there before, is that there's so much more that's going on in the outside world that affects back at home. And I guess until you go and look at these different sort of little stories and that you see what's going on, that you wonder what's going to go on. What about that there, Laura?
Well, I got to agree with you. Now that I'm still trying to find this lady, sorry if it disappeared. She's somebody that's been quite vocal. She actually goes on with Tucker Carlson once in a while. I think that's the one I've seen that he doesn't really care for her, but he did interview her. Mm-hmm. But with you're talking about China, that's what she's talking about. China taking advantage of this kind of a slow burn you've talked about before. Like I said, I just don't know what the heck's going to happen. There's so much misinformation out there. Like the censoring is getting so much worse. I mean, the really sad thing somebody sent me, and I watched a news release from Australia. The prime minister, I guess the president, sorry, was speaking out. There's 20, I think he said 42,000 students returning to school. It was supposed to be this week, but parents weren't allowed in. They were all going to be ushered in and be given the jab. And 2 kids died. That they're aware of during this massive jab before kids went to school. I think this was yesterday it happened. Mm-hmm. So there's so much out there where I think what's going to happen is the regular flu and cold season is going to hit, and especially North America, Europe, all those countries. And I think we are going to see the likes of things we've never seen before. I really, really do. I hope I'm wrong. I love to be wrong about things like that, but I really do believe all heck is going to break loose. And then I think a lot of people are going to wake up that haven't woken up yet, and they're going to be angry. I don't know if we're going to start seeing a lot of civil unrest, but I think we're in for a rude awakening. I think this was just the rehearsal that we saw, and I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news here, but
yeah, well, that's the thing is, I think I said this about when they started implementing this jab and stuff like that. It says wait till Christmas time and then see when the real figures come out, because you know what, mainstream media has muddied the facts there quite a bit, and
I think they've just blacked them out.
Yeah, because there is a lot of doctors and health specialists that have gave counterpoint to everything that's been going on. They've been banned from different types of social media, or been silenced, or or just been removed. I guess you can say that in a way. And it's sort of interesting because there is basically the counter argument, and I think we've seen this happen with this SJW cancel culture movement that's sort of been progressively filtering into every bit of our life and stuff like that, is that nobody wants to hear the counterpoint. Nobody wants to have the discussion. If you don't agree with me, we cancel you. If you don't, that's the long and the short of it. if you don't agree with how we're saying, if you don't agree with our point, and then we will find a way to remove you if you don't agree with us. And that's sort of funny. And you mentioned there too as well, says, yes, we do have an election here in Canada coming up. And there was actually two parts to this that I found was very interesting, because I watched this about a month and a half ago, and the other parties were looking at about delaying the election till next year, right? Because if they go past the end of December here, people that are in office right now, they get pensioned off for the rest of their life, right? If the election would have happened in 2022, right? So a lot of them are pushing to do this election, and which is really, really sort of sad here, is that JT and the Sunshine Band, the party that's in power right now, are at a high right now. So a lot of people are not aware of what he's been doing, or don't care about what he's been doing, haven't been listening to the news. And our news up here in Canada is government funded. So it is very one-sided and pro government and government in power. So it's looking like this September is supposed to be the election, and it looks like he may possibly get back in again.
And he's looking for a majority government too.
Right.
I just want to give a shout out to Jeannie Spencer.
Yep.
Jeannie, she's from the UK. She's joining us. I appreciate that she's here too. Everybody's over on Facebook, so we.
Are they?
Yeah, we can't rate your comments. So if you guys pop over to the UFO Paranormal Radio YouTube channel, then if one of us is talking, the other one can sit and chat with you, because we like to involve you guys when you join in on the show. We really appreciate you guys supporting us. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that he's hoping for a majority government. Michelle Rempel is part of the Progressive Conservative Party.
Yeah.
And I think she's one of the good ones. I think that she's trying to serve her constituents. She is in the province of Alberta. We're in Ontario. Again, I don't think the PC party's any better than the Liberals that are in power right now. I see Derek Sloan is running. I would love to vote for him, because he got thrown out of his party for speaking up for his constituents in Ontario here. But what's really scary is it's also been mandated that all members of government have to get the jab. And I just seen something with Mr. Justin there, that if they do not get it, they do not have a seriously valid reason, was his wording, they will be fired.
Mm-hmm. I just want to go and give a little shout out there to these apprentices, the apprentice chefs that have showed up here. I see Michelle Millians and Janine Spencer. Thank you very much for joining in the show there and listening along. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Canadian politics is it's a funny thing there, because we've seen what JT and the Sunshine Band, he glorifies China. He thinks he loves communism. He loves China. And I like, my dire worst nightmare is that China becomes, or Canada becomes, China-da.
Well, they've been calling it that. And the thing is, he's been very open about this. Like, most of the world isn't aware of this, but he basically tried to put a bill in that's been pushed back now to the end of September. He gets back in, it's passing. We won't be talking about this stuff, because he's going after people on social media posts. He's going to control, basically, well, the CRTC will, but what you can watch and what you can't watch. So we are basically in China if this goes through.
Yeah, this is Bill C-10, correct?
And then Bill C-36.
Yeah.
Is even worse, because this is when it really gets into the speech thing about what you can say, what you can't say. The government decides if it's hate speech. We've already seen what happens with these so-called fact checkers. So I can only imagine when there's legislation in place to control it. But we're not the only ones. I mean, Australia is going through hell and back. I know the UK is, France. I mean, there are many, many, many countries that this is happening to. So it's pretty damn scary, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that people don't realize, is that Canada does not have the amendments that the U.S. has there for free speech. We are very regulated, and basically the breakdown of the bill is right. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. Is basically is uh, any speech that goes against the government or is anything negative and that's leaving from Canada going elsewhere that talks anything about Canada, or you have discourse with the government, is an offense that can actually get you fined in jail time.
10 years in jail and $50,000, $100,000 fine.
Yeah. Right. And so people don't realize that Canada does not have free speech, just like our medical care is not free. That's why 66er of vodka up here costs $80, where in the States it costs 10, right? Because they tax us through the yin yang. There's a little a little bit of Chinese for you there. But yeah, it's unbelievable. And yeah, so I'm not even sure where do we even go from here with this. This is like
we got to throw in now like a UFO fake invasion or something. I think we're due for a big false flag. That's my theory on this. I do.
yeah.
And the problem too is, you know what? There's many factions in different parts of countries trying to do something, but I just wish everybody could just agree to disagree and pull together. Like there's so many more people that could do something, but when we're off in little groups, right? So I don't know. Like I think it was, is it Heimlich Himmler? I'm trying to remember, or Werner von Braun. It was on his deathbed. He talked about the false flags that were coming, and one of the, I think he mentioned something about 9/11. He didn't call it 9/11, but the last one he mentioned was a fake alien invasion. And now we've just seen this disclosure that wasn't disclosure from the U.S. government.
Yeah, that's oh, this comes into another story there too as well. See, we're going to go all over the place here, and this is something that I was looking at, and I remember hearing this story a long time ago, and this was about the real story behind the Havana embassy mystery. Okay, now Havana, Cuba, right? And which is funny that the U.S. is also over there. They have Guantanamo Bay, which is in Cuba, even though there's a huge embargo that was, anyways, with Cuba, right? Yep. That was there was always a big thing there about immigrants from Cuba coming to America, coming across in their little boats and stuff like that. And now you have a huge influx of people coming in from Mexico. Now other third world countries are flying to Mexico and then walking across the border.
Can't even keep up with it. I seen an article recently from one of the heads in Texas, I think, of border security. He said if they can't, weren't we watching that? He said if we can't stem this in the next month or two, like it's become uncontrollable.
Yeah, and it's really disjointed, the news that comes from there, because you have one side saying there is no problem, we're only allowing in a little bit, and then you have local authorities and government people there says no, we're bringing in like 100,000 plus a day. And I don't know where this Jen Psaki there and the White House, the rest of the White House is like getting these numbers. You have a vice president that is now has walked away from her thoughts about Afghanistan. She's walked away about the border. She says, well, I'm only going to be an advisor. What does she do? Like, and this is funny. We were watching a show there. What was it? Last week, and they were going around to campuses in the States there, and they're asking all these strong political women that were students there, and it says, yes, it says, can you tell me anything that the vice president has done in her terms of office that she's done that's been productive? And they go, well, she's a woman and she's the first VP.
And so American, first female African American, but she has done nothing. You are absolutely right. And then I know Joe about it last night. I didn't get a chance to join nights with the centralist he had on Wednesday night to discuss politics, but this is just getting insane. Here we're talking about the last 8 months where the U.S. economy is, the price of gas, price of everything. We're seeing it too, because I know my prices getting paid. Well, now you know, working where you work too.
Yeah.
But everything is jumping up by a couple dollars. Like, I don't know where we're going to be at if things keep going the way they're going.
Yeah, then well, you've been saying there you have a friend that's over in Italy, and you talked to somebody else that's over in the UK area, and you're talking about food shortages and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And I haven't seen that yet here, and because I work in a grocery store.
No, but I'm glad because I do believe they're right about that. I think what's happening, and even people that have been fairly truthful, and again, I take everything with a grain of salt. I know you've taught me this, but I know it now, especially, you have to question everything, even if they're a reputable source. And what they're saying is I guess over in India, the farmers are crying out like basically their land is being taken by the government. The food that they've made is either been just left to spoil, or they haven't had people able to do the planting because of so-called CV-19. So there's half of what should have ever been planted, and we're finding the same here. Never mind, Mr. Gates has bought up most of the farmland around the US and lots in Canada too. So when somebody like that controls, the farmland, they control a lot of the food too. So you know where I'm going with this. They can put a monopoly on the prices or put them up or just not put anything out. They can do whatever they want when they own the farmland.
Yep, that's true. And then you see what happened there during this the beginning of 2019 when you've eliminated mom and pop stores and independent grocery stores and small things like that, and you basically destroyed those businesses, and only the big box stores and big grocery stores stayed open. Now you've funneled down into a very select group that control everything, and that's an interesting point there too. Is that you have to look at the dynamics of what's going on, and if you only just live in your bubble and you only just live in that little small world and you're not seeing how things are connected, intertwined, and who's doing what and who's these power players, who they're connected to, and all these backdoor deals that are going on, you don't see the larger picture. And then you ask these questions at the end. If you ask questions, I always say, always ask questions: who, what, where, and why, right? And then
Especially why. That's what
yeah.
I've been saying lately. Ask why based on what, and have somebody actually show you some reputable evidence somewhere. But I'm finding too many people. We've ran into people we know. No, I never look at those things. I just sort of trust what the government tells me or what the doctor tells me or whoever tells me. And it's like, why? Because there's one thing I do want to add very quickly that's been very disconcerting that I've been seeing. Sorry, there's a truck going by. But what it is I've been seeing these inserts from these jabs being pulled out of the boxes, and it says purposely blank right out of a sealed container, so it's not faked. And as a nurse, and there's nurses even that were commenting on this video I saw, but you have to make sure you have the right patient, the right dose. You
Yeah.
got to know their history, their allergies. You got to know all the medications they're on. You got to know the side effects of what you're giving, what to look for. I mean, there's so much you have to know. Now, when you're blindly giving something out of a vial that you have no idea what is in there, I am so grateful I am not working, because I couldn't do it. I'd probably be fired because I would refuse to do it. I mean, we don't take the Hippocratic Oath as nurses, but we know very well do no harm. How could I just can't even understand that. Like I said, there's so much going on. Your head could practically be on a swivel constantly, every single day, 24 hours a day. And it's all connected. It's like, whoever thought of this, my God, they certainly thought years and eons ahead, I'll tell you, because it covered every base.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting point there too, is because that comes in there what you're saying there about nurses and about the part about knowing stuff. And this is part that sort of I think got sort of overlooked, and a lot of people just sort of blindly just trusted what the government and the mainstream media was doing. Right? Is that whenever you go in to get something done medically, you go to your doctor, and it's a doctor-patient conversation. It's never a government population conversation. And it's never that. Even when you go, like I remember I was supposed to go down to Bermuda uh, for the ironworkers for a job, and I had to go get Twin Rex vaccinations for whatever the Twin Rex is, hepatitis or whatever, I think. And then there's like you can do that. You can do 4 quick shots or do 3 over 3 months and that. And there's a little part there, but before I went in to go and get them done, is that I talked to my doctor and he went through and see if I was allergic to anything that was inside of the medication first before I got the shot, or else I'd have to get a different shot, right? As something that did similar, right? Because I'm allergic to sulfa, and I found that out back when I was 18. I was taking stuff for acne, and it turned my skin purple. So
isn't it whatever sun hit, you turn purple, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, anything that didn't hit the sun turned purple. Everything that hit the sun stayed regular color. Okay. So my face was regular color, my hands were regular color, except for my groin and my feet that were in underwear and socks. They stayed white, but everything else went purple. It was sort of like a reverse or a really weird suntan turned me purple. I remember going out, I was working and I was driving because I used to work for this company, Central News. We delivered magazines to all the stores. So I was doing over in Thunder Bay, the Port Arthur route, and his office was over there close to Boulevard Lake, and I'm driving around, and it was super hot that day, and I pulled up my shirt, and all of a sudden I looked at my arm. My arm's purple. I was like, I'll go stop in there, go in there, and go to the secretary. He says, yeah, can I go and see? I think his name was Dr. Muller at the time. And I was like, yeah. I says, I've gone purple. She goes, you have to phone for an appointment. I says, is this natural that should be happening here? I'm just on this medication you just gave me. I'm purple. Says, I'm not even blue. I'm not even blue like a Smurf. I'm purple. Like a California raisin. He's like, you have to phone for an appointment. I go,
well, I'm here now. Let them see me. I'm purple.
See, my mom was a director of nursing at. I'm not sure if she was at that time or whatever, but my mom just goes and phones and says, bypass her. Find out what's going on here.
Yeah, she was always kind of a Nazi secretary. That I think she was a retired Nurse Ratchet that worked for the doctor in particular. She was a real character. There was something I did want to do though. It was my birthday weekend, and you and my youngest made sure we had a great day that day.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Youngest son's, he's the one with severe autism idea, and because he's very much at that 5 to 7 year old age, it's like because he loves it, mom's gonna love it, and so is Dell. And actually we had a great time. We went and watched these RC controlled cars. But the reason I bring this up, there's a younger guy that runs a business that when you said Boulevard Lake, it made me think of it. What are you holding up there, Deli? Or scorecard? Always got to tell everybody he won. Yes, I already knew I sucked at mini putt, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. Really nice local guy. Looks like he's probably in his 20s, early 30s, named Connor. And you don't see this very often in these troubled times, but he has a big sign outside of his business that says, you know what, if you can't afford to play, please come and talk to me, and you can basically pay whatever you can afford. But I want everybody to enjoy the course. And you know what? I think he deserves a huge shout out for that, because.
Oh, yes.
So if you're in Thunder Bay, make sure you go support him. I forget what it's called, but
I will. I'll find it right. I got it on my.
Oh, good. Yeah, on your winner's scorecard there.
Yeah. No. Okay. Let's see if I can. I don't want to go and shut this. I don't know if I can do this on this one here. If I go move out of this set of pictures, I'm not sure if I can do that.
You should be okay. You should go to pictures. You'll disappear though, probably.
Okay. Let me just. I posted it on Facebook as well, so I'll go to that one.
You know what? He deserves a shot, because you don't see a small business, especially a local business. And actually, I talked to him about my resin. He goes, I want to support local businesses. So he said to bring some pieces over. Just super nice guy. But I mean, especially in these really difficult financial times, as a business, he says he's busy nonstop. I can see why, because it's perfect entertainment for all ages and families. And I wish everybody was able to do something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna keep on scrolling through here. I'll find it here because
Fine.
I took a picture of the sign there as well, which
Yeah,
was
I know you did.
okay. I gotta go back here.
I
I've
think
been
it's on
posting so much stuff
Sunday.
here on Facebook. I post lots of music
Oh, I
and
think it's on.
songs and 80s and 90s stuff there.
I think
Okay,
it's
here we go. Sign. Okay. Who are we? We are Thunder Bay's first and only pay what you can form of entertainment. We offer a fully refurbished 18-hole miniature golf course, lawn games, concession, and much more. Outside of your budget, no problem. Simply come and pay
yeah.
what you can, no judgment.
I'm
We
still.
pride ourselves in having a safe, fun, and inclusive environment that
Yeah.
everyone can enjoy. By supporting our business, you allow us to offer this service for those less fortunate. Pay it forward, Funland. And they have a phone number, which is 807 708 0757. And the website is www.playitforwardfunland.com. And I thought it was really, really nice that they did that because you know what? The people that are sort of having trouble during those times and they just, you know what, to get out in the sun. I say this so many times there. It says vitamin D is such an important thing. Just get out in the sun, get a little bit of exercise, do some stuff there, and it'll do you wonders. And
It's one of the biggest things
it's
for your
free.
immune system. For your immune system, one of the
Correct.
huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's free. The
Yeah.
sun is free. The
Yeah.
government doesn't own the sun. Not
Yes.
yet.
Yes. Well, I thought it might be nice. We've been talking about all this negativity to share something positive, and
Yeah.
like a super nice guy. He even remembered my son had gone with his dad the day before,
Yep.
and he said, "My mom's coming tomorrow. It's her birthday." And he remembered when our Dell's stepson, my son, his name's Justin, and he remembered him, and even honored. I have a special card for a worker or whatever. He let us use that. Plus, apparently, Justin got very lucky 2 weeks in a row. It's almost impossible at the last hole if you get it in. It's a certain spot. It's a number one spot. You get a free pass, and so he did. But like I said, there, I think we really got to celebrate these little things like this, the positivity, because you really got to look for it nowadays. And I think it's so important. It's just too bad more people. I've never seen so much division and arguing, and then I don't know what the answer is. Maybe turn the TV off, but you kind of need to know what's going on, I think.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's it. That's the thing. You can't go one side or the other. You sort of still have to be aware of what's going on, and you have to. And I say this all the time on this show. We throw lots of things in the pot, but you also have to do your own research, and you have to go and ask those questions. I've said this so many times there before. It says, as a little kid, you ask questions about the world. You're asking all these questions. You go to school. You're told what the questions and the answers, and that's you learn to regurgitate that. After school, you've been programmed so much into the stuff there, you stop asking questions, and a lot of people stop asking questions after they're done school, or they don't even know what questions to ask anymore, right? Because they've sort of gotten into this sort of this another brick in the wall type of mentality of life living there, right? And that's why it's like I say, it's so important. Ask questions and find out things. And like I said, and you said there too, is ask why to the what. Why, right? Why is an easy one there? Why is this happening? What caused this,
The
right?
one, the one thing I was going to add too, guys, if you do look, there's a lot of resources out there. I've been seeing a lot. I'm in a private messenger group. Somebody added me to from Australia. There's another one from all over the world. There's one locally with a few other people. So you talk to people that way. You do get censored still in Messenger, but there's a lot of resources out there for people that may be being threatened that they're going to lose their job if they don't get the jab. There's a lot of resources out there I've been finding. So you're going to have to look a bit, probably using DuckDuckGo or something like that. But you can look and take a look because there's some really good advice. I know Candace Owens. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, And I didn't care for her too much in the beginning. I now know, looking back on it, I think she was kind of demonized a few years ago when she appeared with Kanye West on TMZ. Boy, did she stick her foot in her mouth, but I think they planned it that way. But anyway, she's done some great pieces even on that, and really good advice for people, including the asking the whys and based on what. That's a really good one too.
Yeah, that's the whole part about this, and this is what the whole part of the delicious recipe is. That we throw stuff in the pot and we throw everything in there, and it says it doesn't matter what it tastes like at the end. Some people may like it, some people may not. Some maybe people will go and take their own parts of that there and make their own recipe. But
That's right.
the whole thing is about getting information and not stopping information. And you don't have to agree with me, don't have to agree with you either, Laura, and stuff like that. But
Absolutely.
hopefully that it offers thought and different things there to make you think to maybe I should look into something like this, and that's or look into this. Like why? That comes back to questions again, right? You got the whole W5 universe there running around and ask questions. Like, you wonder why the price at the pumps when you go get gas is going up. Well, ask the questions. What are these? How does this train of thought there go through there? What does this do with this?
What are the mitigating factors and why?
Right, and so that's the whole thing about the delicious recipe. And this is our second week here on a Thursday. We kick off the Thursday lineup as per se. So I'm just getting used to this. I'm just getting used to even working midnights and then doing this. My sleep patterns are all over the place there. I even forget what day it is there sometimes. But
I know. Because I don't sleep much, especially if you're on nights. Like last night, when you came home this morning, you said, "Did you just get up?" I said, "Nope, I hadn't been to bed."
yeah,
So I didn't go to bed. I was up because that's what, you know why though? A lot of people think I'm crazy, but we're both night people, and it's quiet at night, right? There's nobody usually messaging. There might be a few friends from around the world, but and it's, you can just kind of think. There's no TV on. There's whatever, right? It's nice and quiet. And I don't know, that's why I prefer creative things. I know you do as well.
yeah.
And I guess that's even something positive to think about, is to keep yourself busy right now, even still. Finding a lot of people. uh,
Are you there?
I am there. I turned it down because we had a super loud truck. I'm outside, guys, because it's just so hot upstairs, and we can't have the broadcast going in the same room. Otherwise, there'd be all kinds of feedback. So I'm outside. But yeah, I've been finding a lot of people just not knowing what to do with themselves, really fed up, even with if they've really gotten into research. Because once people open Pandora's box, you see the progression. I have anyways, because people send me stuff that you've seen maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I always say, yep, that's great. Try and encourage them because at least they're looking. But after a while, it just becomes kind of heavy and overwhelming. And people say, well, I don't know what to do with myself. Well, I always say, when in doubt, what did you love to do when you were a kid, right? Think about it. What did you love to do besides playing, maybe? But most people had hobbies or knew how to spend, their spare time as a child, filling it with fun things, because it's good for your health even too.
Yeah,
It
well,
really.
we were with me and my two younger brothers. We were woken up in the morning time if it was summertime, holidays,
Hmm.
breakfast, and then kicked out of the house.
That's what you said.
Got to come back for lunch, and then come back for dinner time, and then had to come back again after dinner before the street lights went on for
Hmm.
dark time. If
Yeah.
you're 1 second over the curfew time, grounded for a week. So a lot of times I spent myself grounded to the front yard or the front part of the yard. I think I was grounded more than I was free, which is so I'm used to being locked down. But yeah, no, it's just unbelievable the way that sort of life has gone. I wanted to go and put on this part about this there. This is why my train of thought goes all over the place there. And I'm going back to the beginning of 2019 when government media and stuff like that, or mostly government in Canada and in the US, uh, and probably around the world, but the two that I was following at that time, they said no mandatory, no vaccine passports, nobody will be punished if they don't follow these guidelines of this emergency order, which has been rescinded anyways on an experimental medical instrument. And now you have schools now, because September's coming up, and they're making it almost mandatory that kids get the jab. Where there's before a year ago, they were saying kids do not need it, and it'd probably be detrimental to their sexual reproduction there in the future, because they do not have the testing done, they do not have the data for it, and anything like that. And now you're seeing on the news, I've seen this on 5 or 6 different stations, especially in the Canadian mainstream media, where they've had other people talking out there. It says, "Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's just fine. You're just get it done," right? And then they're putting in dates. Well, if you start now, then you maybe could be able to go to school by here and that. And there's a lot of people talking about this in rallies and stuff like that, about this is inhumane to do this to people. This is almost, it could be, in a way, I'm going to use these words here. This is not the words of the station or anything like this, but this has been said there. This is almost like chemical castration in a way, and we don't know what this will do to young children, to their stuff. And it's been shown there is that these spike proteins, they're build up in the testes, in the spleen, in the lymphic zone, in the armpits and stuff like that. This is a modified mRNA medical device that is self-replicating, and it does not turn off. It keeps going. It keeps cutting into new cells, because cells are made every day. It goes into the next one there, cuts it out, and puts its package in there. So this is stuff that, when vaccines are done, there's 10 plus years of research I've done with this. This was 6 months. And you have to worry, he says, when you have a guy like Bill Gates, who is a huge component or a follower of eugenics and stuff like that, and lots of money and buying up farmland and that, you got to wonder if there's different things that going on. And this is another part that comes into here, which is funny there too, is this just came out in the news there the other day. George Soros is mad at China. And we all know about the Open Society Foundation, right? That's the ones that go and overthrow governments in small towns and small countries, and in the U.S. as well, right?
Yep. It's like I said, I think you need to just question everything, take a look at all the sources. We got less than a minute left there, Deli. We might get here already. That went by quick.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll get back to, maybe next week there, we'll get to the real story behind the Havana embassy mystery. And this deals with a lot of DARPA stuff, and about energy weapons and stuff like that, and sending waves through the air. But tell them quickly there, Laura, where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Monday nights here on PRN from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern on the Angel Rock. This Monday, I have Debbie A. Anderson, who is a very gifted psychic medium, and Claudio Maggio, he's a musician, but they work together. Debbie has channeled these 8 solfeggio tones that come straight from spirit. Claudio put them into music. We're playing them because they're supposed to be doing all kinds of things positive for humanity in the way of healing, all kinds of things, unlocking a lot of things that possibly even in your DNA from generations. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But
yep, they've used those tones there with water products as well there, and seen how that they shine, that they go up there. It says deals with harmonics and stuff like that. They're natural progression.
Yeah,
a lot of churches back in the couple hundred years ago had these tonal qualities in the artwork that were built into the churches as well.
We're going to talk all about that. We're going to play Also, quickly, you can find me on www.facebook.com/Angel Rock. You ever want to book a reading, healing sessions, or mentoring sessions? And thanks, Deli, for having me.
You bet. And you can check me out here, new time, new day, Thursdays at 7 Eastern time, right? 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Yep, here on UPRN, and we'll find out later what's going on there with the call letters. I guess we're not 107.7, or we are, or we aren't, but I'm not sure.
No,
But anyways, thank you very much there, people. My little apprentice chefs for tuning in and with your chat there. And did I miss anybody? I said Janie Spencer and Michael Millians. That's
no,
the ones I. Michelle. Oh, geez. Sorry to that, but then Michelle. Yeah. Okay.
Night,
See
everybody.
you later. Talk to you later next week.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still going here. We'll just jibber jabber until Joe decides to click us off here.
Yep.
Well, won't leave anything.
And on time, keeping things on time, because you're the opener out of the gate, just to keep the schedule with live video here.
Yeah. Well, last week there, I was looking at the one clock. So this one says 7:57, and the other one says 7:53. So
that's what I told you, because I knew you had the two clocks with a different time. So
yeah,
you might have to text Joe. He might have got busy. So because that sometimes happens with him, but
well, he's got Superstar on right after me, so
Michael Angley will be up next. Then Michelle DeRoche is on this evening with the Outer Realm, I believe, and I think it's Red Pill News tonight with Michael Angley right after you. So
yeah.
So we might just have to text him. Are you going to text him, or you want me to?
Now you can text him there, because this one doesn't go through on because I got no SIM card on it here.
Okay.
It's going so slow.
Well, you might be able to still text. Joe's got an iPhone, so you can usually text. I'll say we're all done. Just so we stay on schedule here.
Well, I'll say one thing there. This is interesting. On Facebook, I've gotten a lot of friend requests, and this is funny, is that they're all for XXX porn sites. Friends. All from around.
What have you been looking at on your phone, Del?
This is on Facebook.
I know, but Facebook listens and
I said, yep. I says, hey, do you want to be my friend? And then it's like a picture of some penetration. I'm going, holy jumping, delete.
You should report it too.
Well, the more you delete them, I found if you just leave them on there, I don't get any more. I was deleting them. I was getting like a new one every time, so I just leave the one on there. It's almost like getting that.
Now I said, he goes, hey, page 17. I don't know what page. Oh, PG 17.
Yeah. PG 17, people. Damn, PG 17.
Hey, well, that's Facebook for you. Facebook runs the world, so.
Facebook, for some reason, let me turn this off. But for some reason,